Let's talk about the future of Rhys Hoskins. Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Phillies Dead Still Media, and today we're going to be talking about the future of Phillies first baseman Rhys Hoskins. Now, guys, before getting into this video, please subscribe if you have not yet. Please share the bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video, and let's get into this. So one of the best power hitters on the Phillies, other than Bryce Harper, right now is first baseman Rhys Hoskins, who slugged 27 home runs this past season. Of course, he did have that season-ending injury in August, which was very disappointing, right? And we're going to talk about, what has went wrong for Rhys Hoskins, right? And you all know that the Phillies have collapsed, the past, 4 seasons, in 2018, 2019, 2020 was a big choke. Last year, 2021, all very disappointing. And I'm going to talk about where was Rhys Hoskins at the tail end of the season, right? In 2018, he entered that really, really bad slump. He managed to hit a career high in 2018, with home runs in 34. And in 2019, he just was absolutely dreadful in the second half of the season. Batting average below the 200 mark, below that dreaded Mendoza line. Finished with 29 home runs that year. But still, drawing a really, really great amount of walks in the second half of the season. But his power just wasn't there. Wasn't there at all. And that's what the Phillies need out of Rhys Hoskins, right? That's what the Phillies need out of Rhys Hoskins. His ability to hit the ball over the wall is something amazing. 2020, he was really heating up at the end of the season, right? It was a 60-game season. He's really heating up. And then, of course, he does have that season-ending injury. He had to undergo surgery on his non-throwing elbow, Tommy John surgery. And on August 26th, he's placed in 10-day IL. And then on September 1st, that's when they shut him down for remainder of the season with that left groin strain. So it seems like every year, minus 2017 was the season where the Phillies did absolutely nothing. Were absolutely horrendous that year, and it was his rookie season. He has not been there, and I think that it's important we discuss his future, right? A free agent after the 2024 season, and he does have some time left. Scott Boras is the agent, so he's gonna, most likely, possibly test the market, but. I think one big thing about Rhys Hoskins is he does not hit for a very high average, right? A 241 batting average, and it's amazing. He's only, 28 years old. He's only been playing since 2017, August of 2017, not April, August. And he already has 118 career home runs, 326 runs driven in for his career. And he has a career 862 OPS, which is pretty good for a batting average of 241, right? Of course, the 241 batting average, not very good, but you have an 862 career OPS to go along with the 241 batting average. It makes the 241 batting average look a lot prettier. And that's where he pretty much averages out at. His, OPS in 2021, 389 at-bats was 864. So right around his career average at 862. So that's one thing I really, really like about Rhys Hoskins, right? He doesn't necessarily hit for the highest average, which I don't really love. 247 last year in 2021. But you go take a look at the on-base percentage, 334. His career OBP sits at 360. And you go take a look at his on-base percentage in 2020, 384, right? 384. 16 points shy of 400. That's just amazing, right, for him, right? He was really drawing the walks at the beginning of the 2020 season, and I think his slump from the 2019 season flowed into his slump in the early 2020 season, right? I kept saying, I remember saying, is he out of the slump? Is he out of the slump? And when he hit this one home run, people were like, oh, he's out of the slump. So I remember talking about that a little bit, and his, OBP in 2019, 364, so right around his career OBP, he really pushed the walks more in the second half of the season, but it seemed like Rhys Hoskins, he's really, really going good. He's walking a decent amount, but when he's not going so good, he really just jacks up the walk rate, right? And that could be a good thing, because think about how much worse he'd be doing if he was not jacking up that walk rate. I think Rhys Hoskins has a tendency to have a bad plate approach. For example, he'll go up there, fastball right down the middle of the plate, he'll stare at it, they come back with the all speed, breaking ball in the dirt, and he'll look like a fool. His front foot's flying out, he just looks like a fool. Baseball's not an easy game. That's not an easy sport to play. I think we need to understand that. But I think he doesn't have the best plate approach, but his ability to walk and see the ball is very, very good. And this is a guy ladies and gentlemen. This is a guy, when he gets hot, when he gets on a run, he could be one of the best power hitters in baseball. That is no exaggeration, right? I mean, for a short period of time in April, late April in St. Louis, he was the MLB leader in home runs, right? So he was the league leader in home runs. Not just National League, no, whole entire Major League Baseball. So it was very brief, but he was just hitting the ball at the ballpark at an alarming rate, right? And I think one thing we haven't seen since Bryce Harper arrived in 2019 in Philly is Rhys Hoskins and Bryce Harper both hot at the same time, right? It's either been Harp and then Hoskins has got going so good, and it's been Rhys and then Harper's not doing so well. So that's one thing we haven't really seen either. I don't hope that's not too off topic there, but I think that's important to bring up. But yes, his OBP was down a little bit in 2021 at 334. You know what I like? He was driving the ball at the ballpark more. As I said, when the OBP is slightly lower, it's not at 286. It's at 334. It's not something spectacular, but a 384 OBP the year before. I mean, very very good. But 334 OBP, not bad. Glad to see that slightly lower OBP and see him hit the ball at the ballpark more, right? I mean that's what I like to see more. Have a sort of lower walk rate, because let's not forget, extra base hits, of course, are going to help your on base percentage. So I think that's important to recognize as well. But he did have a 530 slugging percentage, back in 2021, which in a full season would be a career high. If you go back and take a look at 2017, at his 618 slugging percentage. Of course, technically is his career high. But let's not forget, 2017, we all have to remember, he only played 50 games. In 2021, 107 games. So I don't really want to count that 2017, slugging percentage. OPS that year, 1,014. So you had a fantastic rookie campaign, really cooled off at the end of the season. But it's amazing. Here we go. He has 1,014 OPS in 50 games in 2017. And he has a season 259 batting average. It's amazing, right? Average right around the 260 mark, let's say. Let's round it up to 260. And he has 1,014 OPS a year. So that's amazing, right? OPP at 396, just 4 points shy of 400. Honestly, I kind of forgot how good he was in 2017. I think that Rhys Hoskins, and part of it's his fault, part of it's not his fault, is the reason why the Phillies have failed in the latter part of the season. I was talking about that before. As I said, I didn't count 2017 because it was a rebuilding year. But in 2018, a year where we're definitely making a big playoff push later in the season, his bat was void. It was nowhere to be seen. And of course, we had Carlos Santana at that time, and he was out left field. And a lot of the Phillies fans, a lot of the writers around base were saying, like, well, I think it's important to discuss that he's not really comfortable in left field, right? He's a first baseman. A lot of first basemen can play left field, third base, etc. But that was just not a good fit for him, and I do think that affected him offensively. Then we go into 2018, we trade Santana to the Mariners, with J.B. Crawford for Segura, and then that moves Hoskins back to his original position at first base. And he started the 2019 season great, and as I said, then he fell into that horrific slump. At the second half of the season. Batting average below the dreaded Mendoza line, below 200, second half of the season. And his bat was just nowhere to be seen, right? Nowhere to be seen. He was walking a lot in the second half. He led the National League in walks in 2019, which is very, very interesting. This goes to show you his walk rate in 2018, very, very good. Came back in 2020, as I said, did not start the season too well. Then he turned it on, and then he got hurt, right? And as I said, he undergoed season-ending damage on surgery on his non-throwing arm. And then in 2021. All right, starts off the season pretty well. He was pretty hot, and of course, he goes through ups and downs. And of course, every player is going to go through an up and down period. It's so hot and cold, right? Of course, Bryce Harper definitely hot and cold, but Rhys Hoskins definitely the most hot and cold player in the Phillies. I think a lot of you would agree with me on that. He is so hot and cold. So I think that's one of his weaknesses, no question about that. But he was starting to get good again in August, right? He even was coming back. Remember in San Diego, and last August, right? He was coming back and hitting home runs out of the ballpark. He was hurt. So that's just amazing. He stepped up, big for us in May when Bryce Harper was on the IL. JT Muto was on the IL. He stepped up big for us then. So there's a lot of positives out of Rhys Hoskins, right? I get really ticked off at him in the middle of the season. I'm not going to lie. I think a lot of you would agree. I get mad when he strikes out. He seems like he strikes out a lot. Of course, he is a power hitter. As I said, his plate approach just drives me nuts sometimes, where he just watches fastball right down the middle of the pipe, and he just stands there, and then he swings at the off speed. You have to recognize, as I said, baseball's not an easy game to play, and you have to cut these guys sometimes a break, even though are professionals. But I definitely think that Rhys Hoskins is definitely undervalued and underrated, right? You go take a look at career batting average, as I said, not pretty, sits at 241. But what does the future hold for Rhys Hoskins, right? So this is what he's done for us, unfortunately. In the last month of the season, he's not been there in September, whether he's not producing or he's just been injured, and it's very disappointing. I think this is not the whole factor. Of course, there's been a lot of other weaknesses that have been going on that late in the season, the past 4 seasons. But I think this is a big problem for the Phillies, right? They don't have Rhys Hoskins later in the season, and that is a big problem. So we need to make sure that he's healthy, performing at a high level later in the season, right? And he needs to work on this, right? He definitely needs to work on this. And health, sometimes is out of your control. It is sometimes out of your control. A lot of times it is. So there's not really much you could do about that. This is why we need a bat like Kyle Schwarber in the lineup to kind of help protect guys like Rhys and Harp. And of course, I'm not even going to compare Bryce Harper and Rhys Hoskins. Of course, Harper goes without saying of course at a different level than Rhys Hoskins, of course. But some extra protection there would be great. Some extra protection there would be great and would help a guy like Rhys Hoskins later in the season. So who knows? I mean, we don't know. A lot of stuff goes on we don't know about. Was he battling an injury maybe in 2019? When he was drawing a lot of walks. Is that a possibility? Yes, guys do play through injuries. Remember Cesar Hernandez, 2018, played the second half of the season with a broken foot. And that's just amazing. I don't know how you do that. 2019 definitely much worse in second half than 2018. I definitely think that the Phillies are going to try to keep him around. He doesn't have very good defense. I mean, I definitely think they're probably going to swap Boehm and Rhys in the DH spot because DH is inevitably going to come to the NL. That is one thing the players and the Major League Baseball executives are agreeing on is universal DH. So it's 99.9% chance it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But I think his defense really hurts him. That's one thing I haven't really talked about in this video. His defense is not good. Of course, it's treacherous out in left field. His WAR in left field was unbearably terrible, and he really isn't all that great at first base either. He's not a good defensive player. I think that's important to bring up, but I think it's important to talk more about defense. I feel like I don't talk about that enough. But that's what he needs to work on. Do I see him staying with the Phillies? It's hard to say. It's hard to know what the future holds. I mean, do the Phillies, try to retool and maybe trade some of these guys away, like Segura, Hoskins? Well, the thing I really find attractive about Hoskins is that, what is he? A homegrown player. I'm not even going to call him a talent, but he's a homegrown player, and he has a lot of potential. As I said, I didn't even realize his OPS in his rookie year in 50 games, 2014. A career 241 hitter, and he has a career 862 OPS. I mean, that's very impressive for a guy that has a 241 batting average for his career. So I can't even get over that. Hopefully he can stay healthy later part of the season. I definitely think the Phillies are definitely going to try to resign him. Who knows what the future holds? I mean, that's in 2024, so that's 2 years away, 3 seasons away. So we still have 3 more seasons of Rhys Hoskins. But assuming if he stays healthy, later part of the season, clean some things up. I've always said he could be one of the best first basemen in baseball. Of course, not defensively, but he is a power hitter, and when he's on, he'd be one of the best power hitters in all of baseball. So there's no question about that. So I am a Rhys Hoskins fan. At times, I feel like I'm not. But overall, I really do like Rhys Hoskins a lot. He has a lot of potential to be great. So hopefully he sticks around. And that's what I think about Rhys Hoskins. That's my assessment, for what he's done in his career, and that's what I see him going forward. I think he just needs to work on these kind of things, and I just see him sticking around. I don't really think the Phillies are going to trade him. Of course, you never know with Dombrowski, but we're in this win-now mentality. Of course, retool mentality. Of course, we don't really know what's going on because of this annoying and pathetic lockout. But this is what I see out of Rhys Hoskins. So, guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Please subscribe if you have not yet. Please engage the bell. Please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. Check out the social media link in the description section at Phillies Hatstill Media, Instagram, ticket on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter at @PHatstillMedia. Call or text 267-225-292. Email it, phillieshatstillmedia@gmail.com. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Let's hear some thoughts, suggestions for videos to come in the future. So guys, thanks for watching. I'm Luke, and I'll talk to you later. I'll see you guys.